Hey guys, Pixie Horror here. This is just a little video to help my friend Artful Dodger with his new Nightblade character on ASO on his Xbox One. I've been playing on PC. Just got my character to veteran rank 2 yesterday with my girlfriend, so just thought I'd make a little video to help him with skill points and stuff. He was asking me questions, so I thought it'd be easier to make a video. So here we go. Okay, first points I put into any skill points I got at the start, I made sure that I went to the Fighters Guild and the Mages Guild. Make sure that you become part of them because you're gonna want Intimidating Presence and Passive or Persuasive Will. These come in very handy when you're questing, just so you don't have certain conversations you have with NPCs, so you don't need to go and gather a load of stuff during a quest. You can just persuade them or intimidate them to get the quest done quicker. You get the same amount of XP, you know. It's not going to damage, anything to do with your questing. It comes in very handy. So there are the first 2 points that I put into. I need to put my phone on silent. Let's see. There we go. Then after that, I got my first ability, which would have been the Shadowy Disguise. Now, it will be... This is the morphed version. But this is what I put my first point into for dual wield, and I also use it for bow as well. Then I went for surprise attack. Again, this is the morphed version, but you can continue to use this at low level as well. And I put in my first 3 passive abilities for this. And in, let's see, siphoning, I chose the Swallow Soul, which is the morph again. This comes in very handy because it gives you a heal. So basically, you don't need to worry about taking too much damage because you're going to be healing over time as well. For my dual wield abilities, I only went for 2 abilities because I'm going to be having the Shadowy Disguise and the surprise attacks. So I'm using both Magicka and Stamina. Went for Rapid Strikes, obviously the morphed version again, and then for my AoE I went for Whirling Blades. I have to say, this class has went very well for me from leveling from 1 to veteran 2. I've had no problems whatsoever. It's been a lot of fun as well, going from dual wield to bow and back again. I leveled my bow to begin with, made sure I got it to 50, and once I'd done that I respacced all my skills straight into dual wield, just to level them up quicker. Basically, I used them constantly. So now that I've got them to 50, I'm going to be putting the rest of my points into bow when I get them. But yeah, for the dual wield, I basically put all the passive abilities because they're all very useful, especially the twin blades and blunt. I personally go for dual wielding daggers for the increased weapon crit. It's a very nice bonus to have, in my opinion. For the bow, I'm going to be putting points into all of these passives as well. So I am. So yeah, definitely going to need to give volley as well for my AoE, my ranged AoE. I went for medium armor. Worked well for me, improved sneak and stuff with it, and it works very well for this class that I have for the dual wield. I am a sneaky character. I don't just run into a fight. I make sure that I'm stealthed. You get a bonus for being stealth attacks. So use soul magic. I use the soul lock so that my weapon gets a charge, a 10% chance of filling a soul gem and a charge. Soul summons just makes it easier so you're not wasting your soul gems a lot on resin if you end up dying in a fight. I would suggest when you get to level 10 going into PvP, just for the simple reason of getting the skill line for you to be able to get rapid maneuver, just so your mount speed is increased and your run speed gets increased by using this ability. It's come in very, very handy for myself and my girlfriend that I level with. Gets things done a lot quicker that way. Obviously, I get my racial abilities, especially archery expertise for using my bow. The increased stamina regeneration, which is very handy for using both dual wield and the bow. They both use stamina. And then stealthy, obviously it explains itself really in the name. My crafting, I went for everything apart from blacksmithing and provisioning, because To be honest, I don't really like the cooking in the game. It's just too many regions and I don't have enough bank space for it. Blacksmithing, my girlfriend was doing the blacksmithing, so she would make my daggers and stuff, and I would do the woodworking to make her shields and her staffs and stuff when she's healing. So alchemy comes in very handy. You're able to make the potions, you're able to get chemistry so you can make more than one potion at a time, which comes in very handy for when you're doing your writs, because it means that you don't need to go and make potions every day. You can actually keep them stocked in your bank so that if you get the same writ as the day before or a couple of days before, you've still got some of them potions sitting in the bank, so you don't need to use any more of your ingredients. You've just got them sitting in the bank, which is very useful. Also, you get an increased time on your potion use and the effects that they have, and you'll also be able to reduce the duration of negative effects on yourself with certain potions. Clothing explains itself. Use it for medium armor, also for light armor if you wanted to do that. There's a lot of money to be made in the professions. I think at the minute I'm just making armor for myself and for whoever I'm leveling with, my girlfriend, any guildmates or anything that we go into dungeons with. Enchanting is really good for putting enchants on your gear and your weapons, because you're able to put green gems or sorry, glyphs. You're able to make green glyphs, blue, purple, and so on to match your gear to give you increased stamina, magicka, whatever it is, or your fire, shock damage on your weapons, resistance on your jewelry. Woodworking explains itself again. I would definitely get the carpentry skill and the stitching skills if you're going for woodworking and clothing whenever you're able to upgrade it, because the research times, the more things you research on a certain item, the longer your research times are. And you're definitely going to want the research times reduced by 25%. You see, at the minute I'm at 4 out of 4 with stitching, so it's reducing the time by 25%. And it also increases the amount of things you can research at one time. So I would really suggest getting them as well. If you're not really worrying about your crafting or anything, which you really shouldn't be at low level, you're getting gears, you're questing, so I would just focus on getting your weapon skills, your spells, things like that there. Just work around, see what you like. Dodger, I know me and you spoke, and you're not really sure what character you want to play or whatever, but if you have any more questions about the Nightblade, you can come to me. I personally really enjoyed the dual wield and the bow, so hopefully this helps. The rotation for the dual wield bow I went for is, first of all, I go into stealth and I use shadowy disguise. I go up behind the target and use surprise attacks, so that stuns them. Then I just constantly use rapid strikes until the debuff wears off on surprise attacks. I put that back on, and then I go back to using rapid strikes. If I'm starting to take damage, I would put Swallow Soul on the target and just keep damaging with rapid strikes. And it's just basically these three spells that I use for dual wield, and then AoE is obviously Whirling Blades. For my bow, let's go into it again. Sorry. Let's see. It's messing up on me here. There we go. For the bow, I go into stealth and I use lethal arrow. And then I use the venom arrow and just basically spam my left mouse button to do the basic attack. If there's more than 2 targets, I use the acid spray. And then magnum shot, if the target gets too close, it knocks them back 6 feet, but it also knocks myself back 6 feet, so that's a 12-foot distance between me and the target. So that comes in very handy if I end up being focused on. And then rapid maneuvers I just have on my bar at the minute, just for when I'm on my mount and want to run faster. At the minute my ultimate is werewolf, but if I don't want to use my werewolf, I end up using soul harvest as my ultimate. Comes in very handy in boss fights, I've noticed, and it only takes 50 ultimates, so you get it very quickly during boss fights and things like that in dungeons. So yeah, that's basically it for my character. I know, Dodger, you wanted to see some. Oh, I got that bug again when I'm walking. That is so weird. You wanted to see some of the add-ons that I have, but you can obviously see them now. There's the let's see, what add-ons do I have here? Got the awesome info, which is this here. It's the little clock, and it tells me my horse is able to be trained. It also shows you when you can do research on woodworking, clothing, blacksmithing, things like that. There. Got the clock. That's for the actual in-game time, so like the actual time it is in Tamriel. Combat Clyde. I'll show you this now. So, need to find something to fight first. Let's see. This just basically shows the damage you're taking, the damage you're putting to the target. So it's pretty handy. It also gives you warnings on when to block and things like that there. So let's see. There's something here. Okay. Well, you seen the damage there come up on the left hand side? Got some poultry there. See if there's anything else to kill. Ah, here we go. Okay. You see the damage coming up on the left hand side there? Oh, somebody coming in to help me. There we go. The person's a vampire, the bat's going around in there. Oh, nice. Plenty of hide, definitely want that. So as you can see there, the damage was coming up on the left hand side for the damage I was doing to the target, and then the damage that was going on the right hand side, the numbers, that was the damage being done to myself. Another good add-on I have is here on the top right hand side, the minimap. It just makes it easier to know where you're going. Basically, when you're questing things like that there, I've got my quest add-on here. What's it called? This one here, FCMQT set. This basically just shows all the quests that you have. See them easier. I've got my quick slot bar, so I'm able to see what I have on my quick slots here. You just see above my spell bar there. So I basically press shift and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on to do my quick slots. Then I've got, let's see, lore books. It basically shows you on your map where the books is that you haven't discovered yet. The same for lost treasure. If you get a treasure map, it comes up as a red cross on the map for you, instead of having to try and figure out where it is by looking at the little picture on the map. Potion maker, it's again for writs, things like that there. Sky shards, it's the same as the lore books. It shows you the ones that you've got, the ones that you haven't, so you know if you've missed any sky shards or not. Weapon charge alert is really good. It brings up a little box when your weapon, the enchant on your weapon, the charge of it is really low, so you don't end up fighting something with no charge on your weapon, so you're not doing any extra damage. So that comes in very handy. So it does. Dustman is basically, it puts things into your trash part of your inventory. You can mark things as trash and just makes it easier so that when you go to a vendor, it asks you if you want to sell your junk, and you just press X to do that there instead of having to go into your junk part of your inventory and sell each piece one at a time. It just does it automatically, which I find very useful. So yeah, that's basically it, to be honest. Hopefully it was informative for you, Dodger. If not, you can always contact me on Twitter or Kick or whatever, and I'll do the best I can to help you. Hopefully you liked the video. Leave a comment if you did. Hopefully see you soon. Later.